Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tax Flow to Cash Flow. Today I'm introducing my new three-part series entitled Generational Wealth or Generational Waste. Now, today our conversation is going to hit home for a lot of you because I'm going to ask you some questions that might shake you up a bit. But today's episode in part one, we're starting with stop paying unnecessary taxes. Now I want to ask you a question. Aren't you sick of paying unnecessary taxes? I mean, really, year after year, you work hard, you build income, you invest time, money, energy, and yet a massive chunk of your earned income disappears because of taxes. Not strategic taxes, not necessary taxes, but unnecessary taxes. And today we're going to talk about why that happens and, more importantly, how to fix it. Because here's the truth. Wealthy people, the truly wealthy, don't avoid taxes accidentally. They delay taxes. They don't rely on H&R Block specials or basic tax returns. They use structures. They use strategy. They play the game differently than most Americans even realize. And it's not illegal. It's not shady. It's actually smart. It's structured and it's really legal. And you can do it too. If you stop trying to fix your tax problems 1 month out of the year and start running your life and business through a tax strategy all year long. Now, let me share a personal story with you. I have a client, a very brilliant entrepreneur, and also a high income earner and a W-2 earner. Every year, she was losing about $140K in taxes, legally paying but unnecessarily overpaying. Why? Because she didn't have the right entity structure. She was running her consulting business as a sole proprietor. Now keep in mind she still is a high income earner on her job. She had no salary structure. She had no family employment structure, no defined owner benefits, no retirement planning inside the business. It wasn't that she wasn't making enough. It was that she didn't set up the rules of the game in her favor. After working together, restructuring her business, and running a cash flow through smarter tax frameworks, we reduced her taxes by over 40%. This is over $60,000 back into her pockets every single year. Now, here's the mindset shift. Taxes are not a bill you owe. Taxes are a game you need to learn how to play. Most people treat tax season like a file drill. They collect some receipts, hope for the best, file under pressure, pay whatever the numbers say, but the wealthy design their cash flow through strategy. Entities that split income strategically, deductions that reward business and wealth building activities, smart retirement plans that lower taxable income, and tax credits that reward behavior. Family business setups that shift taxable income into protective spaces. Now, they don't just let the IRS define their wealth. They define their wealth inside the IRS rulebook. So that's what I want to break down for you, how to stop paying unnecessary taxes. So let's start with number one. Now, if you are a W-2 earner, like my client I described in my earlier story, these are some strategies that will help you. Set up a business. The tax laws are written for business owners. I can't reiterate that enough. Set up the right business structure. You can't optimize what you don't control. So I recommend setting up several LLCs and making sure that they're taxed as a C Corp or an S Corp. And also, I'm not really too keen on the sole proprietorship because you're paying the highest self-employment tax possible. So, number one, let's set up some entities and make sure that you're being taxed in the right way. I recommend being taxed as an S corp or a C corp. And so, in step number two, define owners' compensation strategies. Set up a reasonable salary for yourself with distribution taxed at a lower rate. Pay yourself first, but pay yourself smart. Now, this rule, it does change depending on if you are a W-2 income earner and you're making a lot on your job. We have to make sure that we're putting the right strategies in place. So that's a conversation to have. But learn how to pay yourself first and pay yourself smart. And number three, hire family members the right way. Employ your spouse, your parents, and even your children. This is how you start shifting taxable income to their lower tax brackets while funding future expenses like education or buying your first properties. These are things that strategies that I teach on a daily basis. And then number four, make sure you set up trust. I can't reiterate this enough. Having LLCs to own your assets is not just enough. You want to make sure that you remove that ownership and remove your name from all of your assets, even your home. And how you do this is by setting up trust. Now, there are several types of trust, and I want you to make sure that when you're talking to your tax strategist or your tax professional, that you make sure that you're getting the right trust set up. And there's different types for your situation. Now, when working with me, I make sure that I thoroughly evaluate how you are doing, how you're setting up your generational wealth, and I will make sure you have the right trust in place. But do not, I reiterate, do not set up these strategies without having a trust. Now, let's get into some real questions on how do you take control. Now, imagine this. You don't panic at all during tax time. You already know how much you owe, how much you save. You reinvested 40, 50, 60K in tax savings. Now you have new properties. Your kids' futures are already taken care of. You've already expanded your business. Now you are building what we call real wealth. You're making real wealth building moves. That's when your money starts working for you. So instead of you always working for your money, learn how to make your money work for you. That's when you shift from just making income to build true financial freedom. So let me ask you this again. Aren't you sick or tired of paying unnecessary taxes? Well, I have just given you the blueprint and you don't have to anymore. But change doesn't happen accidentally now. It happens when you decide to move differently. Now, I'm going to invite you to go get a copy of my Tax to Cash Strategic Playbook. It's your first blueprint. And step into the business structuring pro membership that I offer, where we don't just talk about wealth, we build it. Now, I want to make sure that you are being fed the right information. So go grab your strategic playbook and make sure that you join me for part 2 of the generational wealth or generational waste 3-part series. And of course, I'm Denise Givan, the Tax Strategist, your host, signing off. And I'll see you in the next episode where we'll keep building your path to wealth from tax flow to cash flow.